Hello, everyone. My name is Patrick King from Urban Green Lab, and you are here for another edition of Sustainable Nashville Live. This is the show that kind of opens that doorway between folks working in and around sustainability here in Nashville and members of the public, such as yourself. And today I am here with Emily Winters, CEO of Strings for Hope. A couple of reminders before we get started. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go ahead and do that right now. Urban Green Lab, youtube.com. Click the bell to subscribe. Done and done. Urban Green Lab is a nonprofit, so if you feel so inclined to support the work that we do, we would love if you made a donation. In order to do that, you can just head over to our website, urbangreenlab.org, or on your cell phone, you can text Team UGL, all one word, to 44321, and you can get a link sent to your phone that way. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get going. Emily, first and foremost, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing good. The sun's out. It's above freezing.
Yeah.
And that's,
Feels
yes.
outside. It's great.
Yeah. So no complaints from me over here.
Right.
Yeah. Excellent. To get us started, could you tell us a little bit about Strings for Hope and some of the work that you all do?
Yeah. So Strings for Hope is a social enterprise that takes broken musical strings and turns them into jewelry. And they're all made by survivors of addiction, human trafficking, and domestic violence, where we go in and we provide employment opportunities for survivors at different facilities here in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a little bit, that's like our little general mission statement of what we do.
Okay, excellent. And viewers, I encourage you all to pause right now and or open up a new tab and just head over to Strings for Hope's website, because I feel like Emily is really underselling it, because this is just really beautiful works of art as jewelry. So
thank you. Yes, it's all handcrafted. We're very proud of it. Definitely check it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you should be proud of it. It's really cool stuff.
Awesome.
How have you all adapted, through COVID?
Yeah, so it's kind of exciting that we're doing this interview now too, because like you are saying, like our jewelry is really beautiful looking, and it's actually made a huge jump during this time.
Oh.
During COVID. When COVID hit, we did have to do what everyone else is doing and go through the process of shutting down and laying off our employees temporarily and that whole thing. And when that happens, we really took the time to design new products. So everything that you see online right now, like we have our old style, and then we have our new classic Odyssey, or classic style, and then the Odyssey collection that just released. And that was actually during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of our pivot during COVID. But we were severely affected by this. We lost 90% of our income. We were mostly events and like pop-ups in town while we were trying to like move towards online, before COVID. We were trying to get more on social media and do more online sales and drive that traffic there. It was still hard because we were primarily selling on our little carts downtown and in the Gulch, and then also at events. So all of that income just like dropped going into like our busy season. But what was really beautiful about like this situation is we were given that time to create this new collection that we're so proud of. And that was kind of our pivot. And that in a sense has been able to like give us an opportunity to market more online, not to Nashville people, but also to people all over the nation. Who don't get the opportunity to like purchase or see our product. So yeah, that's kind of like the pivot we've been able to make during COVID, is create this new collection and market it online a little bit more.
Yeah, and sales have been up, you said?
Not as much as they were, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
They are up. This is the highest online sales that we've ever done. Granted, that's not like tons, but it's great because we haven't been able to like put that effort and that time into marketing online. And so this has been our opportunity. It was like a do or die situation.
Yeah.
So doesn't have their sales that we normally get in person. So let's hustle on this other side. Let's market to other people outside of Nashville and see where we can take off. And it's worked. But again, like we're a small company and we're still like working through that and trying to get more sales online. So yeah.
Yeah. And given everything that's going on with COVID, we know for a fact online sales have gone way up. So, and I know all of that matters and, affects y'all's bottom line. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what got you interested in this kind of work?
Yeah, so I'm from Tennessee. I'm a
Okay.
local native. I feel like one of the few.
I am
Um,
not, for the record.
you're not, see? Just me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I actually got involved when I was 18, 19. I had, recently left high school and was
Mhm.
working downtown, and one of my friends was volunteering with Strings for Hope, was within this program at Belmont University, and was telling me all about Strings for Hope and how great it was and how I should sell their jewelry and how I should, volunteer. And I was like, cool, I guess, whatever. um,
Mhm.
so then I ended up volunteering, and I ended up selling the jewelry downtown just as like a side hustle, essentially.
Mhm. Mhm.
Long story short, ended up falling in love with the mission and the women that we were working with. And it was a little different at that time. Our mission wasn't primarily focused on the women in the facilities, like who we work with. But
Mhm.
that's kind of where I fell in love and where I wanted to shift the focus.
Mhm.
So that's, yeah, I got into it kind of like on a whim. It was really random how I
Yeah.
found Strings for Hope. And then fast forward, the founder of the organization just wasn't wanting to do it anymore. She was super busy and had a full-time job, and she was like, okay, I want to end it. And I was like, no, I want to. So with her permission, I was able to take it over, which took a few years because
Yeah.
zero idea what I was doing. I did not
Mhm.
go to college.
Mhm.
So I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
But so that took a few years to kind of get in motion.
Mhm.
But yeah, at 19 to 20, I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's start working through, um, the process of running this company.
Yeah.
And by 21, I was able to like actually successfully take it over in 2017.
Mhm.
So yeah, very much so young entrepreneur, learning by doing.
Mhm.
I love the work that I do. I feel like I have more motivation for what I'm doing, and I find new reason for why
Mhm.
I'm here every day.
Mhm.
Before it would be just like a different reason, like why do I work for Strings for Up? Why am I in this line of work? And it was like, well, at first it started with just wanting to make money downtown.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it moved towards this heart for women, and then it moved towards not only providing jobs for these women, what else can we do? We can provide sustainability and like social impact.
Mhm. Mhm.
So really where we're getting our strengths from. So it's like all the reasons just keep adapting and evolving, and I'm just like really thankful to be a part of that. So yeah.
That is beautiful. It's just so
Thank you.
trying to think of like the correct adjective. It's just all the adjectives of just like coming in and just like learning something and then finding like passion in that and then
Hmm.
essentially taking it over and just like having all that hands-on experience that like led to you now being the CEO. That's great. And I just think it's also so inspiring that like you kind of shifted that focus to more so be a feature on those, women survivors.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you walk us through the process of how you take guitar strings and turn those into broken guitar strings, actually, and
Mhm.
turn those into beautiful works of art?
Yes, yes. So we use guitar strings a lot in our verbiage just because that's what people like recognize.
Sure.
But we do take like all strings that are broken, all musical strings. So,
Hmm.
for all you bass players and violinists out there listening to this and watching this right now, we do take your strings. Um,
Hmm.
but basically, we have storage bins in like different guitar shops, different musical shops all over, not just in Tennessee, but also like in Florida. I think we have one in like Ohio. Don't quote me on that. I'm not for sure. There's
Okay.
different states that we're in right now. Um, and basically, anyone who goes and gets new strings or goes to get their instruments restrung, they will be able to like they'll take those strings and they'll put them in the bin and they'll send them to Strings for Hope. And we also like
Hmm.
pick them up from different distribution like centers. Just anyone can donate their strings to Strings for Hope.
Hmm.
That's kind of just been word of mouth, actually. Like we're wanting to advertise that more, obviously, and with this platform it's even more so because we want every musician's strings. We want to be
Hmm.
that like middleman, and provide jobs with them. But that's the first initial process, is finding people to donate those strings. Finding like the shops have been, I feel like, the most successful because they're always restringing instruments.
Mm-hmm.
Get that string in weekly.
Mm-hmm.
You should see our shop. I feel like I should send you photos. It's insane how
Yeah.
many strings we have, but we are always needing more. So
Yeah.
yeah. And then after we get those strings, we are able to, work through them and see which ones are moldable into jewelry. And we do
Mm-hmm.
have like specific styles of jewelry and specific like gauges of thickness. So we have to go through them and we have to like cut them up and clean them and
Yeah.
see if they're usable. And then if they're not usable, we actually send them to TerraCycle through their program. Yeah. So we want to be that.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't want to like have any waste, and
Mm-hmm.
we do try to use every piece of string though when it comes through, even with coming up with new designs. That's why
Mm-hmm.
it's been great that we have new designs right now. But when we do get those strings, we then are able to give them to the women, and I feel like I should break down the class structure, like how we
Yeah.
employ these women real quick too.
Yeah.
So we have in-house staff that makes the jewelry, and then we actually have the survivors that make the jewelry that are in facilities. So we
Okay.
partner with facilities like End Slavery Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
RCI, which is a recovery home from alcohol and addiction, and then Mary Parish is one, a domestic violence shelter, and all of these have been affected since COVID. We're not currently in two of those facilities right now,
Mm-hmm.
but we will be as soon as we can be. And then aside from them, we have our in-house team that's making the jewelry. So
Mm-hmm.
our in-house team is able to, pull out those strings and see which ones are usable. And then our teacher will go into the facilities and will teach the women once a week and give them orders essentially for which piece of jewelry they need to make, and then we pay them. So that's kind of
Okay.
like the process breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll be constantly making jewelry in-house too.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's like the easiest way to describe it, I guess.
Okay. No, I feel like that was a very succinct. I mean, I have a better understanding of how it works, and it seems like production takes place in house and also in these facilities where the survivors are. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. It's all over, all made by survivors though. So the two women that we actually have making the jewelry in the facility in our office are also survivors, one of which came from the program, the
Okay.
employment program at the facility. So after it's a year-long program,
Mm-hmm.
and it's part-time work. We come to the facility and we're like, we want to help you on your terms because right now
Mm-hmm.
you're focusing on your recovery. So after 6 months, if we are hiring, then we'll be like, okay, are you guys, do you want to do this, do you want to pursue this as a career? And then we'll see if we can full-time hire them in our facility. So it's been really great
Yeah.
to see that kind of evolve. But yeah, that's a little bit of a breakdown of Strings for Hope.
Beautiful. And also kind of like keeping it in house when applicable, like when there are positions available, like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
care for full time employment. Yeah, that's
That's
beautiful.
the goal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I got a bit of a fun one for you. Are there any misconceptions about the work that you all do, or is there a question that you hear a lot that you wish more folks knew the answer to?
Yeah. But I feel like there's honestly a lot of misconceptions. I really wish I would have heard this like a day ago because I could have wrote
Mm-hmm.
down like, a few.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Lay them on us.
I feel like the first thing that comes to mind is the structure of our company.
Mm-hmm.
So we are a social enterprise, a for-profit company, and we used to be a nonprofit. So
Okay.
yeah, so we went through this process of like switching, and the reasons because of that are so many reasons, but the
Mm-hmm.
main reason is because we wanted to employ these survivors, and we weren't getting donations in aside from guitar string, which is trash. So
Yeah.
so at that point, that's kind of like our biggest misconception is people think that we're a nonprofit. They'll speak to us as if we are because we're a do-good company. And I feel like what we want to normalize and what we want to promote is that for-profit social enterprises, that structure should be the standard for other
Mm-hmm.
companies, for
Mm-hmm.
for-profit companies. And providing employment for people who otherwise wouldn't get the opportunity should be the standard for other companies as well. So that's kind of like a misconception is that you have to be a nonprofit to,
Mm-hmm.
we get that often. One thing I wish that people knew that they say wrong is they call us Strings of Hope, so and not Strings Four.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's a funny one. I don't blame anyone who does that because it's kind of like strings of hope. I guess it rolls off the tongue, and it's
Mm-hmm.
a running joke in our company. Everyone who knows us, like actually knows us, they'll say strings of hope just to make us all mad.
Yeah.
Feel free to poke at us after this,
Yeah.
so that's one of those things. I'm like, no, strings for hope. Funny story. One time I was on News Channel 5 doing like they were like highlighting us.
Uh-huh.
Small businesses, and then the news anchor said strings of hope. And my
Perfect.
like, no.
Keep smiling.
Okay, but yeah, so that's one of those things
Yeah.
yeah, so
I
that's
I think it might just come from having an organization that has 3 words in the name. Because with at Urban Green Lab, same thing. Some people just call us Urban Labs. Most folks just call us Green Labs, and it's like, well, the lab is singular, and you forgot the urban part. But okay.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I totally get it. I totally
Yeah.
get it.
So, and also I just had to double check, and I was like, well, I've said strings for hope, right? Okay, great.
It's okay if you mess it up too, because
Yeah.
it happens literally to everyone.
Yeah.
I've considered changing our name before. Like that's how much it happens.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, comes with the territory, I suppose. Um, could you tell us? Well, I guess you already spoke a little bit about that, but so the work that you all do provides employment for women survivors and also diverts waste from the landfill.
Mhm.
Could you speak a little bit more on that intersectionality and how you all got there as an organization?
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said before, we haven't always been like this direction with working with the women, and that actually goes for the strings as well. When this was started, it was whatever strings we could get. At that point, we were getting strings donated to us like defect strings from
Mhm.
Ontario, and we were getting strings from just like a few other people. So it wasn't really focused on like getting strings from everyone and being more sustainable. It was just kind of like
Mhm.
we were just getting strings. And then the same thing with the women. It was more so like at the time we were donating to different nonprofits, throwing our money wherever we could, wherever the need was.
Mhm.
It was beautiful. But with the women, there wasn't as much focus on like providing that employment and growth for the company. Hence why like I changed
Mhm.
the structure. So kind of how we became who we are now is when I did take it over, I was just seeing where the need was.
Yeah.
And I realized that the need was there for the survivors that we were working with. I really felt like we needed to empower the women that we were working with. I felt like we could do more.
Mhm. Mhm.
They kept mentioning how broken string really is like it defined a lot of their life. Like they're taking something broken and turning it into something beautiful, and that was something that like I feel like a lot of the survivors were able to like hold on to and relate to from
Mhm.
this broken string. Well, some people were like, how does this tie, how does musical strings tie to the survivors you're working with? And for a long time I'm like, I don't know, it's just there.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and then we realized that it does. We're taking something broken and we're turning it into something beautiful. And that is a process for them. It's a process that reflects their journey.
Mhm.
So so yeah, that's kind of how I like shifted my focus and I started seeing that more like, wow, let's dive into that because
Yeah.
that's what, they're wanting. And it was less about like how much money can you make or how is this in as far as like your future. It puppies. um but how this is able to affect each person is very individual. If this is something that they feel like they're being sustainable and they're creating beautiful jewelry and they're participating in that sustainability, then that's great. If this is something that's like part-time money for them, that's great. If this is a full-time thing and that's what they want and they want to help us employ more women in the future, that's great too. Or it's just art therapy. It just depends on each person. And I think that's that's a really cool part of the mission is it kind of can mold
Mhm.
whatever it needs to be.
Yeah.
Same thing with the strings. We're literally molding it into whatever it needs to be.
Wow. That's just.
Making high.
Oh man, you're just literally and figuratively tying it all together. How the strings and like the work that the survivors do is just representative of, like their journey. And oh yes, 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 yes.
Thanks.
Love it. So could you tell us a little bit what a day in the life might look like in your position?
Yeah. Well, specifically in my position,
Uh-huh.
It's a lot of decision making.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with new designing and
Mm-hmm.
with COVID being a thing, if we can do like small COVID friendly, that's the wrong word. Pandemic
Uh-huh.
CDC friendly,
Yeah.
then we will, sign up for those. And so like with that, that's a lot of decisions and
Mm-hmm.
letting go of staff, like sales team in the past. And so I feel like my day-to-day life right now is just like making hard decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel like that's every CEO.
Yeah.
We're all kind of doing that. But
Yeah.
for Strings for Hope in general, like a day in the life is, something I'm thinking of right now is I saw something on social media recently that said like every time you order from a small business, we all do like an actual happy dance. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so true. Like that is a day in the life. We'll get an order in, or we'll get like 5 orders in, and we'll be like, "Oh my gosh, yay, we got like 5 orders in." And the girls in the upstairs at our main office will go fill those orders in our inventory and see what we got. If we don't have it, we'll lay
Mm-hmm.
it out for the week and see what that looks like. And there's times that we're like super swamped, and I'll need to like step in and be like, "Okay, do I need to clean and coat, or do I need to, organize, or what do I need to do?" I'm not great at organization. So if any of my employees are watching this, they're probably like, "No, she doesn't."
Mm-hmm.
um, but but yeah, so it just really depends. We do so much, or we're doing a photo shoot, or we're learning how to do TikTok. That's a funny thing.
Okay, yeah.
Just depends on the day.
Yeah.
Make, yeah.
Yeah, well, best of luck with the TikTok. I know nothing about TikTok because I am now old. So
I
just
understand.
just aged myself just like that. That's awesome. Could you tell us how viewers can support the work that you all do at Strings for Hope?
Yeah. The best way to support us is to purchase a piece of jewelry
Mm-hmm.
that does directly go to employing these survivors. That is how we keep doing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then another way is to donate your strings. Another thing, like that is what keeps us going. We
Mm-hmm.
are not purchasing strings. This is all to, clean up Nashville from all the broken strings that we have in Nashville and provide a sustainable option and provide employment. And so those
Mm-hmm.
are like the two biggest things is you
Mm-hmm.
can send your strings to our office, which you can see at stringsforhope.com, or check out our page where you can go to different
Mm-hmm.
just guitar shops, different shops that we're carrying like a little bin where you can go recycle your strings. So that's a big one. And then purchasing the jewelry also on
Mm-hmm.
the website. So yeah.
And I will be providing those links. So shout
Mhm.
out to our friends in the music industry, and shout out to our friends who are in need of a new item of jewelry.
Yeah.
Head over to Strings for everybody.
Yeah.
All right, so I have one more question for you, and this was the big one. And so you can imagine you do have a magic wand,
Mhm.
but what is your sustainable vision for the city of Nashville?
Specifically for the city of Nashville, or for Strings for Hope in
For
Nashville?
Nashville,
Okay.
yeah.
I feel like my sustainable vision, if I was able to be like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
here we go. I feel like it would be, more as much zero waste as we could be. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it would be more sustainable companies like mine. I would
Mm-hmm.
hope that even normal for-profit companies, more people like you at this point have already, helped them get someone on board to help
Mm-hmm.
them be more sustainable and using different products in their offices.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be a standard
Yeah.
the city of Nashville. And all of your strings would currently be in my office. That
Yes.
would also be the city.
Oh, so perfect. It's a sustainable vision for Nashville and a sustainable vision for Strings of Hope, because a more sustainable Nashville would mean that you have more strings, right?
It would,
Yeah.
definitely would.
Yeah, and I just really like the piece about like businesses valuing people as much as they do profit, which is something that sounds like Strings of Hope is built on. So
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
it's a
Definitely.
beautiful vision.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have for you today. Oh, if viewers have any additional questions and want to get involved, what's the best way to reach out?
You can go to stringsforhope.com and check out our little contact information page. You can see all of our emails on the
Hmm.
About Us page. It's super easy to get in touch with us.
Okay.
Instagram, all
Mm-hmm.
that. Someone should get back to you. I do have a quick shout out that I just
Ooh,
forgot about.
yeah,
That's
that was actually going to be my next thing. Is there anything you want to plug or let folks know about? Go for it.
yeah. So we are actually going to be at a pop up tomorrow when this is released.
Mm-hmm.
At the Goodfill. Um,
Okay.
have you been to the Goodfill?
Love the good Phil and love Megan. Yes, yes,
She's wonderful.
yeah.
They're now carrying a bin for us to collect string. So I'm
Oh.
hoping
Mm-hmm.
that people go there and not only, refill all the products that they need to refill, but also go there and donate their string. And that's just more, income that we can bring into them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, there's a destination for Strings for Hope that's not just like musical, it's like also cool and
Yeah.
more sustainability. So that's like my little plug. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's it.
Excellent. And if you were to do that, you'd be supporting two local small businesses.
You would.
That's a
You
win-win.
That is.
Yeah. All right. Well, Emily, thank you so much for being with us here today. Next week, in lieu of having an interview, I'll be bringing you all a special announcement about some changes coming to Sustainable Nashville Live in 2021. So please stay tuned. If you have any questions or you're interested in learning more, feel free to get in touch with me. Patrick, my email address is patrick@urbangreenlab.org. That's all we got for you today. And until next time, remember to live sustainably.